afternoon, I would like to cover as much as possible in the period that we have the subject of vowel sounds and their application, the practical use of them, the effect of the vowel sounds on the physical body, on the psychic body, and what we can do with the vowel sounds to strengthen our thoughts and our feelings, to harmonize the various aspects of our consciousness. Vowel sounds are, in ancient times, the mantras of those who knew how to project energies in various ways and use various kinds of energies. The term vowel sound is the typical Rosicrucian way of trying to simplify what otherwise would be a deep esoteric subject to an awful lot of people. The term mantram simply means that we are saying something or singing something which, because of its nature, has a certain effect. So a vowel sound is a sound of a vowel that is preceded and or followed by a hard sound, which is known as a consonant. And the energy and power of vowels comes from the proper use of these two aspects, that is, the consonant followed by the vowel. The proper use of the vowel is very important, and that's the reason for this session this afternoon. We hope that you will be able to go back to your lodges and your chapters, your groups, and have the opportunity to apply a little of what we are able to do in this class to the local situation and improve the quality of the vowel sounds there. Also, it will be possible for you to use what we're doing in your home sanctum, and it will be possible for you to experiment personally in your sanctum with the effects of the use of vowel sounds. The first thing that we need to understand is that a vowel sound is produced by a column of air in the lung cavity. And this column of air is under your conscious control, whereby you can emit the air or cause the air to come past the larynx, and then you can control your larynx in such a way by the hearing of the vowel and the hearing of a note, such as an A or B on the scale, as we understand the musical scale. And then you can project this sound out, and this is what we call singing or speech. The effect of singing or the effect of speech is due to a great extent to the way you use vowels and the tone of voice that you use. In other words, as we mentioned in this class in a former session, when you say something, what is being always corresponding with the way the vowel is being pronounced, and therefore your feelings are expressed contrary to what you're saying. And consequently, it's important to use speech and to use the art of singing in a sincere manner. In other words, you want to be sure that you're saying outwardly what you are inwardly feeling and inwardly meaning, so that your voice and the effect of the vowel sound does not give you away. Therefore, in singing what we call the mantrams or the vowel sounds, we're trying to make us contact with energies which normally we don't have any contact with consciously at all. Those of you who have studied the great chart that is sent out to the students showing the relationship between the various octaves of being will realize that in a certain part of that chart there is what we call human sound, the ability of the mind to hear in consciousness the effect of speech, the effect of vibrations on the material plane, which we call hearing or sound. And consequently, in the proper use of these vowel sounds, we are able to contact vibrations that are much higher, and many octaves higher. In some instances, so many octaves higher that there would be there would never be a chance of our actually making contact with them, except sympathetically and unconsciously. And this is the purpose of the vowel sounds. In other words, we can sing the vowel sound that is given to us in the instructions or in the convocation ritual. And I would like to ask you to make reference very often to the instructions given in the convocation ritual as to what the meanings of the various vowels are. We're not going to be able to cover those in this class, but we are going to use a few in order to demonstrate what we're talking about in the session that we're having here this afternoon. Therefore, it is important to see that when you're singing or saying vowels, you are stimulating first the physical body. And I would like to point this out in a demonstration. If you will sit straight up in your seat, and if you will take a deep breath, and then you let me sound a hum sound, and then you immediately sing the hum sound after me. And you will see, as you sing the hum sound, that there's a vibration in the front of your face. And if you are very sensitive throughout your body, you will realize that your body is vibrating to that hum sound. In other words, your body is the instrument. And the place where you're producing the note is, of course, in your throat and in your head. And the sound is coming from the upper part of the head known as the sinuses. That is actually the sound box. And the purpose of this is to make you realize that we're talking about a scientific, physical thing. When you're using vowel sounds, you are making contact with certain physical things in your body that will cause you to be stimulated in such a way that your consciousness will realize other vibrations by sympathetic relationship. I would like very much to, just before we do the vowel sound, to point out what we're talking about. If you take a tuning fork and you hit that tuning fork against a hard instrument, the tuning fork will produce a note, for example, A above middle C. And you can take another tuning fork that is tuned absolutely to the first tuning fork, and without hitting it against anything, it will also vibrate to the vibration that you are creating with the first tuning fork. So, sympathetically, you're causing something to happen as a result of the vibrational sound that you cause in the first instance. So this is what we're doing. We're causing something to happen with the physical body, and sympathetically, we're causing something else to happen, for example, in the psychic body. Now let's produce here the M sound as an example. Now increase that sound. Make it louder. Now, as you pronounce that M sound, make it so loud that you can feel the vibration in the front of your face and feel the vibration in your physical bone structure and in the extremities such as the hands and the feet. You can do this. Sit there and become sensitive and sing the hum sound. Now, in order to understand how vowel sounds ultimately work, I think another thing that's important to realize is that when you send out the vibration through the air, you cause air waves. Those air waves produce a condition, and the numbers of people in this class sitting here this afternoon produces a condition which is the sum total of all the vibrations each individual one of you produces. And so these individual vibrations cause an accumulation of energy in the air, and those vibrational energies of sound go through the tissues of your body. And this is one of the reasons why the personal presence at a concert in an auditorium where a person is singing a wonderful piece of music, or the orchestra, symphony orchestra is playing a great symphony, the sheer physical reaction of the people in the audience is one of physical vibrational response to the vibrations of air that are being sent out. And if you don't understand a note of music, certain kinds of music, such as the great music of Beethoven, especially the certain passages in his symphonic writings, and also the famous last string quartets, those sounds, just sheer sounds, even if you don't hear the notes and you're not musical, you will you will be able to see the effect of it or feel the effect of it over a long period of time, because your physical body is literally affected by those wonderful sounds. It improves the health of the body. This is one of the reasons why vowel sounds are very important if they're used judiciously over a long period of time, regularly and every day, because the physical body is being affected, and it causes vibrations. It causes the increase of vitality, causes your nervous system to be toned up, and the cells of your body to become more livened and sensitive, and so forth. So the M sound is essential to the understanding of vowel sounds. The M sound produces resonance. Those of you who understand music will see this. Now, we're going to the vowel sound ah. And I want you to realize that ah is produced by opening up the throat and opening up the mouth. And you just sing ah with a wide open throat sound. And you then are going to combine it with the M sound, and we will have the vowel sound ma. Now just open your mouth and sing ah on the same note. Now sing ma and prolong the M sound slightly. Now, contrary to ma, sing ra with the vibration in the throat opened up to pronounce the vowel sound ah. Ra. Okay, now follow me. Ra. Now sing ra ma with the same breath. Ra. You didn't make a mistake, but you didn't follow me. I do not intend to follow you, so you follow me. So you follow my hands and you pronounce ra and ma together like this, okay? Sing ra ma. Here we go. Ra. Much better, but that still shows you how disobedient Rosicrucian students can be. Some of you did not follow. Now, I would like very much to point out that when you sing ra in the throat, you are stimulating the back of the head, the pineal gland. And when you are singing ma in the front of the face, you are, with the M sound, you are stimulating the pituitary gland. So when you sing ra, ma, you are stimulating successively the pineal and the pituitary glands. And this is the reason why we say that the ra sound is the masculine, positive, aggressive sound of the will nature, and the ma sound is the nurturing, enfolding mother principle. And so when the two, the father and the mother principle, are brought together, you are balancing and harmonizing the two aspects of your nature. Let's do Rama once again. That's perfect. Now I would like to point out also that when you sing the vowel sounds for the purpose of strengthening your physical body and harmonizing your physical body, you are also strengthening and harmonizing your psychic body. And you're strengthening and harmonizing the psychic and physical natures together. So that, for example, your psychic body is made up of the mental energy and the mental, what has been known as the mental body, and the emotional energy and the energy or spirit energy, as we call it, of the physical body. Now, the psychic bodies are energy bodies, and they make it possible for you to think and to feel independently of physical sensation. Therefore, with your mind, you can abstract out of your physical experience and create a thought form. That is, you can create a thought, you can visualize a mental picture, and for lack of a better term, we simply call that a thought form. It's the form of a thought. It is thought which you create into a form. And we visualize in our minds thought forms. Now, those thought forms take on vitality and life when you fill them with vitality and life. In other words, you want to make them correspond to the livingness of your physical experience, so that when you go inside your consciousness subjectively and you begin to create and visualize with your thought forms, and you want to become the creative Rosicrucian student and bring about certain results in the world, you want to create those thought forms as if you really mean them. In other words, they're not just flat, meaningless thoughts that are not vitalizing and they do not produce any enthusiasm. What you want to do is to have a sensation of reality. And we know that we're creating the thought forms in our real consciousness. That is, it is the reality of our consciousness. And in order to make those thought forms in the reality of our being produce results out here in the world of actuality, we must fill them with life. So when you do the vowel sounds, a vowel sound that you choose in order to make strong a particular thought for the purpose of visualization, you want to visualize, create the thought, make it as real to yourself as possible. Then you fill it with life, like you fill your own body with life when you take a deep breath. And then you produce the vowel sound. The sound itself on the physical and psychic plane gives that thought its body. It causes the body to become concrete. It makes solid the thought form. That is solid in a relative sense. It's not solid as you would make solid a physical form. But what we want to have ourselves realize is that that thought form is real. In other words, thoughts are things. And we want to realize that. So we want to fill it with purpose and we want to fill it with life. And the life that we breathe into ourselves, we call it nous. On the physical plane, as we take a physical breath, we fill the consciousness or the thought form with that psychic life, and we make that thought form real. Then when we drop it into the subconscious and we let the subconscious take it over, in other words, we let the soul take it and do with it what the soul needs to do, we are in the process of saying to the thought form, I have created you, I have filled you with life, I have filled you with purpose or soul, I've given you meaning, and now I'm going to turn you over to the divine aspect of my consciousness, and you will be the tool that I have created for my divine self, this master within. And therefore you can have a lot of confidence when you learn to do this, that the inner self has got something that you have turned it over to the inner self in order to be created. So we have to understand what we're doing when we're using vowel sounds. Vowel sounds are really important in that sense. So later on in our session here, we're going to do some visualizing. And then we're going to fill the thought forms that we created with that energy. And then we're going to send them out with a purpose. So let us do the vowel sounds with the intention that we are going to realize within ourselves a change not only in our physical body and a harmonization of our physical nature and a sense of vitality and well-being on the physical plane, but we are going to also affect ourselves emotionally, and we're going to make our minds more sensitive, and we're going to cause the mind to become more clear and precise. And we find that in doing vowel sounds judiciously and properly, we are able to make our minds and our feeling natures come together and harmonize. Now become sensitive when you do it this time. Let's just do all. Okay. want you to note when you do the aum, it's A-U-M. You are doing the A because it really represents your mental nature, which is for your personal self, your will nature. And the U sound is your sensitivity nature, in other words, the feeling nature. And the M sound is the material nature. It is your physical body. So you have the mind, the emotions, and the material body in that word aum. Aum is a sacred word because it is the sacred word of the Holy Trinity, as the Christians would say it. It is the triangle. It is life, love, and light, or life, light, and love, as we say, in that order. Because aum, the three sounds, is a diphthong sound, and it is the aum that from which we get the word amen in our ordinary everyday language. When we want to end our prayers with some sincerity, we say amen. We are referring to the name of the Christ. In the book of Revelation, the Christian Bible, we refer to him as the great Amen. He is actually the great Aum, because in his being is the threefold nature of God's will, God's love, and God's intelligence. And that are the three sounds. So when you do Aum, you do in that order. It becomes a diphthong. It's a beautiful sound. And a person can do that over and over and over again as the days go by. And you'll feel the effect in harmonizing your mind and your emotions and your physical body. Let's try the Aum once again. Take a deep breath this time. Now, just for practice, we did the Ra and the Ma a while ago. Let's do Aum, Ra, Ma. And it takes a deep breath to do all that together. So take an extraordinarily deep breath and fill your body full of nous. And the more you do this, the more vitality you will have, and the more vitality you can project through the vowel sound. Take a deep breath. Now, it's important to note that that wonderful Rosicrucian chant, and that's what it is, a mantra, is in vibration, describing to our consciousness, whether we understand it mentally or not, it is literally causing us to realize sympathetically from very high vibrations the nature of the Holy Trinity, that is, will, love, and divine intelligence, pronounced by the word Aum, and then that nous, level of the consciousness of nous, is brought down into our zone of awareness in a duality called Ra and Ma. This is vital life force for us and spirit energy. Ra and Ma. And when we do Ra and Ma, one right after the other, then the two vibrations in our consciousness and in the physical body will produce a third thing, and this is known as the Om sound, or the sound. So we end this chant with Om, or And when we sing Aum, Ra, Ma, we are pronouncing a great cosmic mantra. In other words, it's a tremendous truth. And we're bringing the vibrations down, and we are receiving the effect of them, whether we are consciously and intellectually aware of what is going on or not. And so the purpose of our instruction this afternoon is to try to make us aware just a little bit of what the great cosmic meaning of these vibrations really can be and really are. So, let's do Aum, Ra, Ma, once again. The Om sound is a unity sound on the material plane. Okay? We want to exaggerate just a tiny little bit in order to increase the power of the consonants before the vowels. So we're going to do Aum, Ra, ma, and then like that. This is a little bit of Russian, but we're going to do it anyway. Okay? Here we go. Now we're going to further intensify the effect of the vowel sounds by using what we in the Western world call harmony. We're singing it so far on the melody principle. In other words, this is once again the intellectual principle. But the harmony principle is the production of more than one sound produced together in what we call a harmony or a relationship that produces an effect. So that as we do al, ra, ma, on two or more notes, we're able then to affect vibrationally the various aspects of our nature once again. In other words, the al, ra, ma, on three different notes in harmony will correspond to the three aspects of our physical nature, our emotional nature, and our mental nature. So we want to keep this in mind. And I'm going to ask you to do one right after the other. I'll ask you to do it in unison. I'm going to ask you to do it in harmony. And then I'll ask you to continue the harmony because we're going to emphasize different things as we go on. Here we go. Aum, ra, ma, Now do the third. Once again. Once again, fortissimo. Now, to the harmony that we have just produced, I want you to add the energy and the power of what we call rhythm. In music, there are three great aspects of harmony, melody, and rhythm. Rhythm is the will nature, the power nature of anything that we do musically in what we call Western music. The harmony aspect, of course, is the love aspect. So in harmony and the rhythm, you have love and will. And in the melody, you have what is known as the intelligence aspect. It is something that is being expressed in harmony and with divine energy or will. So that God's divine will, God's divine love, and God's divine intelligence is being expressed when we use rhythm in addition to harmony and melody. So once again, let's do the three things. Let's start off by singing the melody, then we'll divide it to the harmony, and then we're going to end up with the rhythm. And that rhythm is going to be at the end. I'm going to ask you to repeat the om sounds, so that you will just simply sing at the very end, om, 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 and that'll be a rhythm. And the harmony that you will be singing will be the last note that you end with. You understand? Okay. Let's do the melody first. Om, ra, ma, the rhythm aspect, and at the end of the phrase, do the rhythmic repetition as we described it a moment ago. Okay? This time we're going to have the rhythm Thanks, we demonstrated. And I might say that you did it very well. You act as if you've been trained a little bit. I'm not real sure that that's true, but